Hello, my name is Noel Welch and I'm part of the SMA Folklore Project here in the Wilton Parish Centre. You're very welcome, and we have a lot of projects going on throughout the year here in the Folklore Project. At the moment we have the Faces of Cork, which includes over 60 characters from the world of sport, from the world of music, entertainment and politician, and characters in their own general view as well. We are also working on part 2 of our exhibition, because we put up a notice recently and a lot of other names now have been added for our next project, which will take in about another 60 Faces of Cork. Now, one of the big projects we're going to work on throughout the year is coming up in August. It's the 100th anniversary of the assassination of Michael Collins, the 22nd of August 1922. He was assassinated at Bale-na-Blaw. Now we're looking for, maybe if you have some old photographs or indeed anything related to Michael Collins, we'd love to hear from you. We also hope to open up our oral history part of the Folklore Project. So if you know anybody in the community that has a story to tell, we'd love to get in touch with them. Now, the current project here we have at the centre is the Faces of Cork exhibition. And I'm sure you'll recognise some of the faces, but we'll point out some of the most interesting characters we've selected from our display here. And they range from people in politics, people doing charity work like Katrina Toomey. We also have the Cork-born actor Killian Murphy, and of course there's a great picture there, a very iconic picture with piercing eyes, focused on the colour jersey of the great Christy Ring.
Christy Ring is considered one of the greatest Irish hurlers of all time. His career spanned 24 years from 1939. He won 8 All-Ireland hurling medals. He also played with Cloyne. In retirement, he managed teams and remained active until his death. He died suddenly in 1979 at the early age of 58.
Gerald Goldberg was an Irish lawyer and politician who in 1977 became the first Jewish Lord Mayor of Cork. Goldberg was the son of Lithuanian Jewish refugees. Goldberg had an interest in history, especially local history of Cork, and published a number of books including The Adventures of Cork, A History of the Jews of Cork and Jonathan Swift. He received a civic funeral to the Cork Jewish graveyard at Cork on the 4th of January 2004.
Katrina Toomey runs Cork Penny Dinners at Little Hanover Street. She and her volunteers serve up to 2,000 freshly made meals a week. They also now operate a wellness centre on James Street, which offers medical, emotional and educational support. Katrina received a Hall of Fame award for her work in Cork over the years in March. She has recently travelled to Ukraine to deliver 13 tons of aid.
Rory Gallagher was an Irish blues and rock guitarist, singer, songwriter and producer. He came to Cork in the early 50s as a young lad with his parents, and Cork City adopted him. He was a great guitarist, and there was a reporter for the Rolling Stones magazine once interviewed the great Jimi Hendrix and asked Jimmy, "How does it feel being the greatest guitarist in the world?" And Jimmy replied, "You have to go ask Rory Gallagher that." Sadly, Rory passed away in London in 1995 after complications of a liver transplant, and he died at the age of 47. He's buried in St Oliver's Cemetery in the western suburbs.
Killian Murphy was born in Cork in 1976. He was lead singer with the band The Sons of Mr. Greenjeans, but he went on to act, having turned down a record deal in the 90s. He took a role in the famous Disco Pigs, which toured the world, but he's gone on to become an internationally acclaimed actor.
Pat O'Connell. Now there's a face of the English market. His fish stall began life over 40 years ago, which was started by his late mother, Kay O'Connell, the mother of Pat and Paul, who run it today. Of course, Pat really came to fame when he was introduced to Queen Elizabeth and her husband, the Duke of Edinburgh, when they paid a visit to the English market in May 2011. And he presented the Queen with a big, huge salmon, and she brought her back to Buckingham Palace. Years later in the post came an invite for himself and his wife to attend a garden party at Buckingham Palace. So it was a very historical occasion, not alone for the market, but indeed for Pat O'Connell himself.
Cassie Barry was born in 1909 on Dalton's Avenue off the Colquay. Her mother had a shop there which later became Barry's Eating House and Pub. The menu consisted of crubines and drisheen. It had a convivial atmosphere. Cassie Barry was a great character and died in 1982.
Nagel. Nano lived during the period when the Catholic majority in Ireland were subject to the anti-Catholic penal laws. She was born in Ballygriffin in the parish of Killavullen, County Cork, to Garrett and Anne Matthew Nagel. Of course, Nano became famous of setting up her first school here in Cork, the South Presentation Convent. And of course, she started the Presentation Sisters, which are now in 30 countries around the world. She's buried in the Nagel Centre in a very simple wooden coffin enclosed in a glass case. Last year was the 250th anniversary of the foundation of her convent. Michael Collins was an Irish revolutionary soldier and politician who was a leading figure in the early 20th century struggle for Irish independence. Collins was born in Woodfield, County Cork, near Clonakilty, the youngest of 8 children. His plan to travel to his native Cork on the 20th of August 1922 was considered particularly dangerous, and he was strenuously advised against it by several trusted associates. He had fended off a number of attempts on his life in preceding weeks and had acknowledged more than once in private conversation that the Civil War might end his life at the moment. On several occasions, Collins assured his advisors, "They won't shoot me in my own county," or words to that effect. We're doing a special here on the life of Michael Collins here in the centre in the month of August. So if you have any old photographs or even recordings, please get in touch with us, and you can get in touch with us quite easily by emailing your information to SMA Folklore Project at yahoo.com.